I don't care if you haven't read a book in 8 years because you're reading this one. Hi everybody, welcome to my Piece of My Mind podcast, where I either give you a piece of my mind and go off on a tangent about something I'm passionate about, or I tell you about something that brings me peace of mind. Today, this episode is about one of my favorite books. Actually, it is my go-to book rec, and it brings me peace of mind. So the book is Tomorrow and Tomorrow and Tomorrow, and it is by far one of the best books I have ever read. And I read about 50 to 60 books every year. So this book is by Gabrielle Zevin. It's like an adult novel, but like adult in the sense that it's very deep. And it is about these two gamers, and they've been friends since they were kids, and they had all these fights, and they didn't talk to each other for years, and then they randomly meet on like a subway, and it's just the craziest little like interactions, and the characters are so deep. Oh my God, Gabrielle Zevin has like this insane ability to write these characters that genuinely feels so real. Like, I read this book months and months ago. I think I read this book at the beginning of this year. So, long time ago. And I genuinely still think about it because it's so good. She genuinely has the most godly writing style. And it made me question reality because it was just such a deep book. It's about relationships and people and doing what you love. It's amazing. And it's friendships that are just so rich and deep, and being artists and ambitious and having all these and being basically geniuses and living an everyday life and going through the same things that the rest of us go through. I'm going to have a spoiler-free section, which we are in right now, and a spoiler-filled section, which we will go to later. And don't worry, I will give you a thorough warning before that, because I am someone who notoriously spoils things for myself, including this book. It was bad, which... there's a big spoiler, and there's this whole thing at the end, and it literally ripped my heart out, but that's okay. I love getting my heart ripped out if it's for a good book. It's about these flawed people who are just constantly miscommunicating, but they also, they love each other so much. So it follows a boy named Sam, and he was stuck in the hospital for a good amount of time because of an incident with his leg, and he never fully recovered from it. And in that time, he was playing lots of video games, and he was actually learning about them as well. And when he was in the hospital, he met Sadie, who was another kid, and her sister was in the hospital. And so she had a lot of free time, and so she would just be in the gaming room. And they really connected that way because Sam wouldn't talk to anyone before Sadie came in, and she didn't even realize it. But they had a falling out soon after, and they would see each other sort of, because they were in the same area, and they were both really smart kids that were into video games, and but only when they were in college, and this is how smart they are. I think they were in Harvard and MIT, and so they see each other in a subway, and it's everything about it. It gives me this feeling, and I have literally been chasing the feeling that this book gave me, every single time I read a book or every single time I see a book. I am looking for the feeling that it gave me, just the full feeling that I am inside the story, and I am one with this book, because it affected me so deeply, and I genuinely have not found it in the same way. But hopefully I will, and I will tell you about it. And there's also a character named Marks, who I love to death because he is Sam's college roommate, and he is just like so kind to Sam because lots of people aren't kind to him just because he's different. And I love Marks, and their friendship is just so rich, and it's complex, and the three of them become friends, and they're like working on their video games, and you don't have to know anything about video games to like this story. Like, genuinely, I know nothing about video games. I remember talking to my brother after because he is like a total gamer, and I was I was watching him, I was so inspired to play video games after I was watching him play video games. He was like, "What are you doing? You never do this." I was literally just sitting on the floor watching him play video games, and I was like, wow, the design's really cool in this. I must have had a really good engine. I had no idea what that meant before reading the book, and he was like, "Whoa, you know that?" I was like, "Yeah, I know ball." And so, I knew, nothing about video games coming into it, and then I, have a new, micro passion because of this book. It's, a piece of me is them, and I love that feeling. I'm the kind of person who, when I read the book, I, take a small piece of them, of the, main characters, or, the book itself, and insert it into, one of my personality traits. When I read The False Prince, I suddenly started climbing trees. It was actually kind of crazy, but it was really fun, and it's great. Okay, anyway, I don't want to spoil things for people who haven't read the book. So, if you haven't read the book, what are you doing? Go read it right now. Like I said, I don't care if you haven't read a book in 8 years because you are reading this one. It will change your life. Not even kidding. Change mine. And if you have read the book, please continue with the rest of the podcast because this is where it gets interesting. Okay, now that everyone who hasn't read Tomorrow and Tomorrow and Tomorrow is completely gone, let's get into it. Oh my God, I can't believe Marks dies. Did you guys see what I did there? Where I was like, oh, I love Marks to death. Yeah, I do. And he's dead. But that's okay. I mean, I loved that Marks and Sadie got together just because I love the characters so much. But it's so heartbreaking because, Sam is just there and he's just, watching his two best friends fall in love. And he clearly wants her. And I love how, understanding Marks is that Sam is, low-key depressed after it. Because he's just, he's so understanding with that, and it's genuine. It's just what made Marks my favorite character, because it's absolutely insane to be that level of understanding, and I just feel so bad for Sam. And then once Marks dies, which, by the way, the writing on that was absolutely insane from the perspective of a bird, because he's on hard drugs. Genuinely, it was, just one of the most insane things I've ever read. So, basically, I didn't annotate the whole book formally, and it just got to the point where it was, so unbelievably good that I was like, okay, you know what? I need to annotate this. You know what? Not only am I going to annotate this, but I'm going to annotate the heck out of this. And so, I annotated it so much. I was, digressing, so many lines, or multiple lines in one paragraph, and it was from a literary point of view, not just oh, this line's cute, that's some cool dialogue, and then the literally the chapter that I started annotating from, where I was this is so good, is the one where Marks dies. What? What? I didn't know that was gonna happen, but I mean, okay, actually, I sort of did know that was going to happen, because earlier in this podcast, I was talking about how I spoiled something big for myself, and it was actually Marks' death, but it was, before I even read this book, because I, saw it in a video somewhere, and it was, so long ago, where I was okay, I think they were talking about Marks, but I'm gonna gaslight myself and say that they weren't. Which this happens so much to the point where it almost actually, like, works, my gaslighting, I mean. And so it was still, like, absolutely heart-wrenching. Not to mention that my favorite character died, so it would have been heart-wrenching regardless. Like, in the end, and then, like, Sam makes a whole game for Sadie, and it's just, like, I just love, like, and I don't know what the message is supposed to be, because I remember I was just, like, staring at walls for, like, so long after I read this. Like, all the feelings are, like, coming back to me now that I, like, I'm, like, talking about it again. And I've literally recommended this to so many people, and they read it, and all of them are like, oh my god, that's amazing. Because it's the writing style, it's the story, it's just this unbelievable ability to, like, capture what life feels like. It's insane. And it's just, like, when they were younger and Sadie is, like, using her hours with Sam as charity, and, like, Sam's grandma or something tells him, I don't know why you're so upset. She obviously didn't spend 600 hours with you unless she liked you a lot. And it's kind of the same thing where Sam makes a whole game for her and she's just like, yeah, okay, whatever. And I get that, like, she isn't able to move on because Marks is so amazing, and they also have, like, a work relationship, and oh my god. And, like, it's just the point where they know each other so well, and I just love how the ending is that, like, he would know her handwriting anywhere. And I don't know why I love it so much, because it doesn't have this, like, super satisfying ending. Because for me, I love a good ending. Like, the ending is the most important thing, the climax. And it's just, like, it's got the most, like, kind of, not simple, but, like, it's just not this insanely elegant, multifaceted ending, and I still really love it. And so it's just a genuinely, oh my god, I've said that word so much. I've said genuinely so much this episode, but it's so good, and you have to read it, even if you haven't read a book in 8 years.